It was around 48 hours, and the response has been overwhelming. And to introduce myself to those who are meeting here for the first time, I'm Lata Venkatachalam, the CEO of IIT Bombay Alumni Association. I took charge of the office in January this year. It has been very, very exciting journey so far. And I think with there are a lot of names that I am familiar right now with, starting with Deepak and Vilas Rajwade. And we had his brother also here with us for the Golden Jubilee reunion yesterday. So this has been a lovely journey. It's so wonderful to have you all here this evening. So one of the initiatives that IIT BAA, to kind of take care and engage with all sectors of alumni is, of course, our large number of alumni in the older batches who are the golden ones, and golden in every sense that you are. And I think what are the ways in which we can engage with you and engage with the great knowledge that you have gathered over the years. And I think that's when we kind of met Tanishta of Wisdom Circle. It was so kind of her to have reached out. She is our alumna as well. So there's no surprise why she reached out though. However, very kind of her to have reached out and said, let's kind of do something for our retired alumni where we can kind of use their knowledge and the great wisdom that you've gathered over the years to the larger community out there. And that's why we are here today to kind of talk on what it is, what is retiring. Let us retire the retiring, So I'm sure many of you here are looking forward. I don't know, it could be the second innings, third innings, but we are not here to lose to anybody. It's time. We are not playing in Adelaide, so we are in a much better forum with Wisdom Circle, who are going to help us find opportunities where our alumni can be engaged. So so I all the last sessions I've always been the moderator. This time I said no, I'm not going to be, because we needed an alumna to do it. So Tanishta, I'm going to leave the space to you, and please take over. Thank you.
Thank you, Lata. Thanks for the opportunity and all the kind words. I was just telling Lata a few minutes ago that today I will not wear my Wisdom Circle hat. I'm going to be wearing my IIT Bombay hat. Very glad to be having this talk on the forum of the IIT Bombay Alumni Association. I'm Tanishta, H10 batch of 2009 Aero. And currently at Wisdom Circle, I head the education and partnerships vertical. But much more about Wisdom Circle you'll hear in a moment. In some time we'll talk about it. I have my colleague Niharika here as well, who heads the social impact vertical at Wisdom Circle. And we're going to tell you more about exactly what it is in some time. But before that, like Lata told us, we want to talk about the idea of retirement, and from many perspectives, right? From the perspective of those who have retired, from the perspective of those who have retired and gone on to their second and third innings, and from the perspective of those who find value in connecting and leveraging the experience of those who have retired, right? So without further ado, we have, I'll move on to introducing the panelists that we have here today who are going to talk more about it. You might have read their names on the poster already. So there's Mr. Deepak Himat Singka. I hope I'm saying your name right, sir. We met yesterday. And I'll introduce you in a moment. We have Mr. Bala Parthasarthi. And hi, Mr. Bala. So glad you can join us. And we have Mr. Vikas Kamra, right? So
hi, Tanishta. Nice to meet you all.
Welcome. So I'm going to take a moment and do quick introductions, and then we can move on to hearing from all of you on the topic of retirement. Vikas brought to my notice this morning that before I introduce all of them, that an interesting fun fact is that all three of you are from different IITs and are about 20 years apart in terms of your year of graduation. So it's like a very intergenerational panel that we have here today. So we are hoping that the conversation is even richer as a result. Mr. Deepak Himmat Singh graduated from IIT Bombay in 1967 with a degree in chemical engineering. Post that, he joined India Carbon Limited, a family-managed company, which he took over as managing director of in 1974. He initiated R&D activities there, which were recognized by the government of India. In the beginning of 1980s, with the cooperation of like-minded alumni, he started the Bombay chapter of the Alumni Association and was elected its first chairman. And over the last few years, he has given the reins of his company over to his son and has been enjoying semi-retirement, and he will tell us about semi-retirement. Mr. Bala Parthasarthi, I'm just going to request if someone can spotlight the speakers as we introduce them. Is it possible to have me and Mr. Deepak and Mr. Bala all spotlighted? And
Tanishta, it is done.
okay. Mr. Bala is the chairman and co-founder of MoneyTap Frio, India's most profitable neobank based in Bangalore. He was also the founding partner of Prime Ventures, India's #1 seed VC, and worked with Nandan Nilekani at Aadhaar. Before moving back to India, he was involved in multiple startups in the Silicon Valley, where he lived for 17 years, including Snapfish, that was sold to Hewlett-Packard. Bala is originally from Chennai, IIT Madras, and he reminded me, he checked with me that you know, right? But we're very happy to have you here. Vikas is the co-founder and CEO at Valiant Solutions, a niche data analytics firm focused on providing digital transformation solutions in financial services, Industry 4.0, and supply chain areas. He has 15 years of experience leading and managing client engagements across diverse sectors in the software and analytics space. Prior to founding Valiant, Vikas worked as a software consultant for investment banking clients like Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Jefferies out of on-site locations. Vikas is an alumnus of IIT Delhi. And of course, you have Niharika and me over here from Wisdom Circle, right? That's a lot. There's a lot of wisdom across all of us over here. I think there's a little bit of I'm not sure if everyone can see a steady set of spotlighted folks. I see me and Mr. Bala on screen at the moment, and now we have Vikas. All right. So thank you once again, all of you, for joining us. We'd love to jump into the conversation part of this, right? And we'd love to start with you, Mr. Deepak, right? So the first question to you is, what would you like to tell us about your professional life experience and how it was when you felt yourself at the cusp of retirement? What did it mean to you? How did you plan for it?
Let me begin by telling you that I did not plan for retirement. It was something which was thrust on me. All of a sudden, I was just 56 years of age when a peculiar set of circumstances arose, which necessitated that I step down from the post of chairman and managing director of my company, which I had helped found. This was all a very sudden move, so which there was no time to plan or even think about it. It just happened. But what happens is always happens for the good. And I literally had to start life once again from scratch. But it was a very, very interesting experience. And I would say this, that my years at IIT and my work experience subsequent to that helped me negotiate this tricky patch of life where you literally began all over again. The time I left, my children were fortunately both of my sons had also joined the business. So in that sense of the word, I was not alone. And when we had to start all over again. So it took a lot of doing, not having prepared anything, any contingency plans or anything of that sort. It was touch and go. You tried, do this, do that, and ultimately you find your niche. What happened with me was, fortunately, I had been engaged in project development in my own company, which was my area of speciality, if I may call it so. And that helped me. Over a period of a couple of years, from 2003 to 2005, it was an experience of trying to find my feet. Ultimately, I started landing small assignments for project consultancy, ultimately culminating in 2 or 3 large projects, which we successfully did. And that helped me navigate my life through. In the meanwhile, my children had also settled down. My elder son also started a company for fabrication of steel structures, which we started in 2010. That is now grown into a medium-sized company, which has developed a reputation second to none in its field. My younger son, who is also with me, we both, 2 of us live in Bombay. My elder son lives in Calcutta. And he has become a trader and represents large international companies for their very specialized products in the field of gas processing, hydrocarbon, and petrochemicals. Just give me a minute, please. Hello. I'll call you later. Please do. I'm in a meeting. So that is the basis. But as I say, one thing in India, and especially in the business community, you don't retire. It's always a semi-retirement.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Deepak, for sharing that perspective. We'll come back to you about the whole part of, you don't really prepare and it just kind of happens, and, how you navigated that. We'll come back to that. Thank you. Moving on, Mr. Bala, would love to know from you a little bit about the work you do at present, right? And the value you see in hiring retired professionals.
Sure. First of all, thanks, Tanishta, for letting me talk. As I said, I was not sure if IITM people are allowed in IITB forums. Already the mail had gone out, and I had a couple of comments from IITB alumni saying, "What are you doing here?" But thanks for inviting me here. before I address your question, let me tell you what I am trying to do. I am. Yeah, I've been running my own startups. I was the CEO of my company until earlier in the year. I just stepped back as the role of exec chairman. And my objective right now is to sort of try to find that mix between sort of doing business and working for, in service of others, right? So working for nonprofits or starting a nonprofit. And I'm trying to find that balance right now. But in the nonprofits that I'm already involved in, let me give an answer to your question directly. So we have hired, we've hired one person and probably going to hire a second person from Wisdom Circle. And this is a nonprofit which I'm helping my friend who's running it, which is very specialized for putting tele ICUs, right, in remote government PHCs and connecting them to district hospitals via the cloud and providing medical advice from the cloud. There are already about 2,000 beds in various places, and we've already gone live in the Northeast, and we're going live in Karnataka later the month. The need that Wisdom Circle, the first need was we needed a sort of a financial controller. We didn't need anybody full time, but we needed somebody part time with a specialist, right? Somebody who has got a little bit of a passion for giving back to the community, but it's a paid position. Yeah, it's not free. But we needed somebody with a passion, but also highly competent. And thanks to Wisdom Circle, we kind of totally nailed down a candidate, and she has made my life personally enormously easier. She's basically taken over a lot of stuff, which I was kind of, learning on the job, but she already knew the stuff. So it was amazing what the difference she has made. The second position we've hired, and I'm kind of going into a little bit of gory detail just to, before I want to bubble back up and make a general point. The second position was, we needed somebody who can procure hospital equipment, right? Because that's what we are buying, all kinds of equipment for all these ICUs. And we needed somebody who had that skill. Again, we were kind of winging it by doing it ourselves, which we had like no idea what hospital equipment is. We're kind of Googling all this stuff and kind of learning something and doing something, which we managed to do something, but it was not necessarily the most effective. Whereas somebody who worked at a Fortis or a Manipal or one of these hospitals who have done this for a living could come and add a tremendous value. But I'm giving this very specific detailed examples to make a larger point. The larger point is that I think both nonprofit organizations and my own companies that I run, they all have need for very specialized skills, right? This might be full-time, might be part-time, might be a contract, but we, like, for example, at MoneyTap and Frio, we have constantly needs for people who have been in RBI, right? Or who've been in banks running specific risk portfolios, for example, right? So these are very specialized skills. And if you look at almost every organization and every CEO that I've talked to, they always have this requirement for these very specific skills, like whether it's hospital equipment purchasing manager, or like a financial controller, or a RBI retired official, so on and so forth. And there is a huge demand for it, and there is no way to easily find this. It kind of accidentally happens if you network into it, but there's no formal way to find it. And this is where I think something like Wisdom Circle can be of enormous help. And I'll just end with this final point, is that my own experience in both running the business as well as now sort of moving to the other side is that I think if the skills are very specialized, I think there is always going to be a need, and the need can be flexible so that it can provide both meaning to the person, to the retiree, as well as actually high value to the company. But if it's a very general skill like people management or project management, I think those are much harder for companies, because they're full-time roles and there are already people doing it. So more specialized there is, I think the more the needs there are. And I think this is just like a tip of the iceberg. I think there's a whole world of companies and needs out there. So let me just pause here. Finish that back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Bala, for sharing that perspective. Um, you shared a lot, and including about a question that I wanted to ask you later on, that
Sorry, people who are retired talk too much. That's one of the things I noticed. I'm also doing the same thing.
Oh, you consider yourself in that transition phase, is
I'm
it?
in the transition, so I'm still talking.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. No, but that was great, right? You gave us an example of someone that you retired and the value you found from them, and that it's just the tip of the iceberg, right? There are so many kinds of opportunities, and maybe specialized ones, specialized skills lend themselves to better connect with part-time opportunities in a lot of organizations. Thank you for that. Vikas, moving on to you, right? Could you please describe, say similar question really, could you describe a challenge your organization has been facing? What is the work that you're involved in right now? And how do you feel a retired professional has already helped or can help you overcome this challenge?
Sure. So first of all, thank you, Tanishta, for inviting me and giving me the opportunity. So I'll start with some background. I think that will put things in a better context here. So as a company, we are into pure play services, data analytics, and we work with a lot of companies globally who happen to be in industrial, financial services, and retail CPG segments. And the goal is to help them realize value from data, build data products and solutions, right? So last 2 years have been phenomenal for us. We have grown quite a bit. And the things that worked for us 2 years back, right, at a scale of, let's say, 150 people, 200 people, they no longer work, or at least they have to be retired and new things have to be built. At the same time, we are also realizing that to be able to create more value for our customers in different industry segments, there is a need for us to better understand the segment itself, right? So example, industry 4.0, and that is different for various industries. If you talk about manufacturing or mining or some other sectors, right? Unless until you have a deeper understanding of the domain, you will not be really able to come up with a solution which really solves a problem for them. So my background, I mean, I now my experience is 15 years, but initial 4 years, I was pretty much a software engineer myself. So started the journey pretty early, and my experience working with projects is pretty much all the domain. But as we grow and build the organization, we need people who are specialists in domains, who can talk to, let's say, plant people, operations manager, and so on. Even do all these visits to better understand the things, right? So people who are domain specialists, and you can't have all that wisdom just substitute by lesser number of years, right? So you need all that wisdom and experience, and that only comes with number of years you spend and you work. So at the same time, the we have certain limitations, right? Being a small company and bootstrapped, investing our own profits back, we are in a middle state where we want to hire down the line somebody full time, but right now we don't want to hire full time, right? So I think one of the best ways to kind of do that is where we have somebody like yourself, your platform, and if we can get that wisdom, right, part time, I think that will solve the problem for us in the near term and near to short term. So functional experts is one area definitely interested. These could be across financial services, industry 4.0, supply chain areas. And then also people with certain background in, let's say, managing HR ops or finance as we grow, because those processes are also something that we have to still set up for that particular scale. So those also are the people that we would be interested in, somebody who can come and set the process, and then we can sort of build a full-time team around it. So pretty much that's the need that we are looking at. And I mean, I happened to come across Wisdom Circle through a customer of our own, actually. So they introduced me to this concept. And while I was actually discussing that, look, we don't want somebody full time, but at the same time, we really want that experience. So that's where he talked about Wisdom Circle, and that's how the interaction started.
Amazing. Well, thank you for sharing, Vikas. I hear a little bit of echoing some of what Bala said as well. The whole specialized, the functional expert, right? And getting them part-time is so valuable to your business as you look to grow and discover new things in specialized areas. Thank you for sharing that perspective. I think the word wisdom has been used fairly a lot right now, especially because we're called Wisdom Circle also. And we've been talking about retired professionals. Before I ask the next question to Deepak, I just wanted to take a moment to share that, internally we at Wisdom Circle, we've been thinking for a while about how do we refer to retired professionals? Do we call them retirees? Do we call them retired professionals? What do we call them? And one of the things that we have aligned on and is calling them the wisdom generation. It's different from the Gen Z and millennial stuff in that it's not about the year that you're born in, but it's about how much experience you have. So the moment you have accumulated 30, 35 years of experience, you are now wisdom generation, right? And for short, we call them WisGen, right? That's what we refer to the folks on our platform looking for meaningful engagement post-retirement as, right? WisGen. So Deepak, what advice would you have for WisGen, right? What advice would you have for the wisdom generation or those who are about to retire as they are looking to discover post-retirement opportunities? From your experience, how easy or hard was it to get into semi-retirement? And you said business background is different, but you're on mute, Deepak.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good. First of all, life is moving very, very fast. At our time, the pace of knowledge gain was arithmetic progression. Now it is more than geometric progression. And so you are outdated within a couple of years. Even 5 years is good enough. The advances overtake your knowledge gain. And so you fall behind times. That is something which we have to reckon with. I'll give you an example. In the mid-80s, I was invited by IIT Bombay to become an examiner for the BTech home papers in the chemical engineering department. All was hunky-dory. I found myself very involved till it came to the early 90s. By that time, computers had become the norm, and computer simulation had become the rigor. We were in the generation we had used slide rules and not even calculators. So the transition was so much that I did not understand the language of the computer then. So I had to excuse myself from becoming an examiner again. And I said I was to retire from that activity. So this is one area which will always hound people. However, as you say, there is no substitute for experience. A lot of calculation becomes redundant with your experience, where your experience dominates. Your rational thinking solves a lot of problems which you don't need to refer to the computer or the like. Having said that, my advice is basically engage yourself in activity which is more social and beneficial to the society at large. I, for example, while doing my consultancy and helping both my sons, I took on me in 2014 that to start a chair in memory of Professor Nirmal Kamath, who was our first deputy director of IIT Bombay and head of the chemical engineering department, and who I revere as my guru, then, today, and forever. I was instrumental in setting up a chair where at IIT Bombay. The chair itself was very unique a concept. It was not confined to chemical engineering. It is a chair where we invite professors of international caliber from all over the world in any discipline which is being taught at IIT Bombay. So any department, any course can request for a professor to be sponsored under the aegis of the chair. And we pay an honorarium of 6 lakhs rupees a month to the incumbent, plus travel for himself and his spouse, stay at IIT in all the facilities. So that is the scale of which we are doing. We have half a dozen professors who are coming and going and at intervals. So that's an area which keeps you engaged, keeps you worth your while, and you are giving back to your alma mater also. I have been involved in an educational institution which was started 90 years back, also from the family. And I am now one of the trustees there. We run schools for about 4,000 underprivileged children.
Wow.
So it keeps me very, very busy, keeps life very hectic and happy.
Wonderful.
And last of all, look after your health. That is the first thing I must say, that we all live a stressful life in our first innings. It's time to sit back, relax, enjoy yourself, exercise, walk, do what you feel like, but keep fit, keep disease away. That's my suggestion to all my friends.
Thank you, Mr. Deepak, for that capsule full of lots of amazing, great advice. Like I love that focus in the end on, all of that is great, but stay happy, stay healthy, right? And there are so many opportunities in which, so many ways in which you can engage yourself in a meaningful way. Although you might feel at some points that you're getting outdated and it's difficult to keep up, right? On that note, right, I'd love to move on to you, Mr. Bala, on a connected sort of question. A lot of retired professionals often wonder, why would someone hire them? Who are these people who'd like to hire them, and why? Right? What message do you have? Similar question, really. What advice do you have for retired professionals who are looking to be engaged?
As I said, I think this is the path before would be like sort of accidental, right? Either your company sort of you become a consultant, right? That was kind of like a traditional route, where but it's limited, very limited to your network, and there's so many randomness to it that you might or might not be able to be have that match. And I think this is where a centralized service helps, right? Where there is somebody who's connecting the dots. And also, I think here COVID has played a huge part, because 3 years ago, the de facto assumption would have been you have to come in person, right? And there are only so many jobs in your area, easy commute, and if you're sitting in Bangalore, commute is a big issue, or Mumbai, or so you're geographically limited even within your own city, and you're extremely limited by your connections that you have to be able to find these things. So discoverability, I would say, was a huge problem. But if discoverability is resolved by services like Wisdom Circle, and the actual remote delivery can be done by Zoom, which has now become the norm, at least a mixed delivery. Let's say you go once a month and you do this. Then I think the opportunity circle just is dramatically expanded right now. It could be global even, right? Not necessarily even to India. So the advice to answer your question specifically is, I think you have to sharpen your toolkit, right? Nobody wants somebody who just comes and gives gyan, right? Nobody wants it, right? Even your old company did not want it. So it's got to be something very specific, right? And that's why I kind of gave very, very pointed examples. Uh, because I think if you and if you are and if you have those skills, or maybe brush up those skills, right, which you are pretty close to, like, as engineers from IIT, most of us have at least some engineering skills, right? Engineering skills by default are those kind of skills, right? Even though please don't ask me anything about chemical engineering because I've forgotten all of it. But but those are the kind of skills that I think are immensely useful to somebody. So I think if you first look at yourself and you kind of hone that skill, then I think you will be discovered, right? And I think we're going to see this world. Hopefully, Wisdom Circle will do it, and there'll be other players who will do it, right? Will come and discover you, right? So I would say first look inwards, and then look at services like Wisdom Circle, and I think you will find it. And I think the beauty of all of this is that, like Deepak mentioned, you can still have that balance of giving back, and you're doing something for your community, you're doing something for your family, you're doing something for your health, and these are all, this could be, you can meter this, right? It could be a 20-hour a week engagement, a 10-hour, a 5-hour, 40-hour, it could be a limited engagement. So I think you can sort of mix and match. I don't think it's like, hey, retired, sit on the beach and wonder about life, or work as long as you can. I don't think those are binary anymore. I think you can create your own mix and match, and see what works for you, as long as you have some specialized skills.
Thank you for that, Bala. Again, lots of amazing things shared over there. And what I'm taking away from what you said, Bala, is the discoverability part, right? You're limited by your networks, but if there is a way to discover these more easily, then that's something. And as advice, of course, like, sharpen your toolkit, and I guess and go out there and mix and match and create what's most comfortable for you. The point you mentioned about Zoom and COVID always reminds me, and we've been asked this on other forums, that how tech savvy do you have to be engaged post retirement? And what we've been saying is, if you're on this Zoom call, you are as tech savvy as you need to be doing these online remote part-time engagements. But that's in jest, but of course, to sharpen your specialized toolkit. All right, Vikas, to you, right? I think you already started sharing this, right? You mentioned how you came to know about Wisdom Circle. Could you tell us a little bit more? What has your experience with Wisdom Circle been like? The folks that you have hired, what was the process like? What time did it take? What did you think of the people that you are interacting with? If you could share something on that.
Sure. So see, basically, so the need was there, actually, to be honest. And so I was just casually speaking to one of our customers who happens to be in the same age bracket, right, 60s. And I was checking with him whether he knows somebody with the supply chain experience in CPG space and all that. We don't want to hire full-time yet, but we would love to leverage the experience that the person have and knowledge the person would bring, primarily for solutioning and IP building and all. And I also wanted to check with him. I asked him this question: is there a platform that can help me discover? Because there is no such thing as LinkedIn for that age bracket. I mean, you will not be able to find a lot of people in that age bracket easily on LinkedIn, right? So that's where he introduced me to Neeraj, and the discussion started. And the journey began through, I mean, there was a sort of a JD / questionnaire that was being put forward by your team. And I had to provide all the details, what we are seeking, right? What kind of role, how many hours do we need, the typical compensation structure would be. And that JD would have been posted on Wisdom Circle. I mean, it's a closed group for now. And then certain people were introduced. I had a conversation with them over phone, and I also happened to meet a couple of them. In fact, most of the people that got introduced, couple of people, I met them personally, one in Gurgaon, one in Bangalore. So with one person, I think we might work next year, since the person is occupied this year with family stuff and all. The other gentleman was slightly different in terms of actual experience, because ultimately there is so much you can discuss on phone calls. You'll have to meet the person to have really a meaningful discussion. And there are a couple of discussions that are ongoing also, more around data privacy and governance space. I think we might end up engaging pretty soon. So overall, I think there is a need from our side, and there is a pull factor here. There is a definite pull factor, and hopefully we'll start engaging pretty soon. Some of these gentlemen.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Vikas. So just a time check, we're at 7:15 and we do want to move on to our next section where we tell you a little bit more about Wisdom Circle and how you can be on it. Vikas mentioned it's a closed platform, so it's invite only, but you can request access to get onto the platform. Details will be shared on chat by the team that's here, and we'll tell you a little bit more about it as well. But I'd like to take a moment to thank all three of you, Mr. Deepak, Bala, Vikas. Thank you so much for making time this Friday evening to be here and share all of these amazing thoughts with us. I'd request you to hang back till the end just in case there's time to take a question or two.
Sure.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So now the next bit, inviting Niharika to tell us all a little bit about what exactly is Wisdom Circle, what does it do, and how can you be a part of Wisdom Circle, right? If I could request a spotlight on Niharika, please, 4 of us can now move off the spotlight stage. If we could please spotlight Niharika.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Tanishta, so much. Thank you to all our speakers. It was like really lovely listening into the conversation, and it's always great to firsthand hear sort of stories and reasoning of why both WizGen and folks hiring WizGen sort of look at it the way that they do. So yeah, I'm happy to share quickly a little bit about Wisdom Circle, the kind of opportunities that we have, and also how you can request access to get onto the platform. Please bear with me. I do have some slides, but I'll try to keep it as crisp as possible. So what's Wisdom Circle's purpose? What exactly do we do? As you can see here, we are trying to build the largest and most trusted platform for retired professionals. You might have guessed that we are right now focused on India, but hopefully at some point we will be global as well. What we are trying to do is to leverage the lifetime of experience that retired professionals come with and help connect them to meaningful engagements through which organizations can benefit from this lifetime of experience that they have. Who is this turtle that you're seeing? The turtle is our mascot, the Wisdom Circle mascot, Wiz. And we actually call the retired professionals' entire community, we refer to them as the Wisdom Generation, also known as WizGen, trying to give a positive, inclusive identity to this sort of group. You hear a lot of Gen Z and Gen X and so on. So our retired professionals are our WizGen. And who are they, right? They're typically folks above the age of 50. This is primarily sort of the group that Wisdom Circle can help and aims to help. We don't have an upper limit. It's just sort of a broad lower limit of 50 years of age. And they are retired professionals, retired from formal full-time work, who are keen to continue sharing their knowledge and wisdom with the world, which we heard a lot of in the discussion leading up to this as well. So what we've heard from a lot of like conversations and a little bit of research that we have done over the past couple of months is that our WizGen primarily have 2 motives to want to like continue working in some capacity. One is that they want to stay professionally relevant and kind of leverage exactly what they have done through their profession and continue helping organizations with specific like Bala and Vikas were sharing. The other primary motivation is that they would like to give back. So this is either through things like teaching, sharing their knowledge, mentoring, or actually give back to society, right? Like to help organizations working on various social impact issues. So yeah, so what kind of opportunities do we have? So we broadly have categorized opportunities on Wisdom Circle on our platform in these three buckets that you see here. Domain experience is linked to what the first motivation I was just referring to, where people want to continue staying professionally relevant in the area that they have worked in through their formal career. These are roles that relate to engineering, finance, HR, and so on, any function and industry you can think of. Our second major bucket is education, and these are opportunities broadly in teaching, mentoring, curriculum development, and so on. And then we have not-for-profit or social impact. And this is any organization giving opportunities and working on areas that link to any social cause or issue. And the organization itself can be, for profit or not for profit, and hence social impact. So just to sort of emphasize the message, what Wisdom Circle is aiming to do is find ways in which WizGen can give back to the world and give to the world in general. And that's primarily what we're trying to do. Slightly busy slide, but wanted to give you a sort of real sense of the kind of opportunities that we have. These are with organizations ranging from large companies, medium to small, startups, and like I was saying, organizations from the education sector and social impact, not-for-profit, and so on. These are like just a few that we have. There are many, many more. And we are also in partnerships, as you may have heard, with IIT Madras, via Vikas, couple of armed forces placements as well. And that's more so to bring in more WizGen into the community, to find them ourselves and tell them like, hey, opportunities are there. If you want to work, we'll sort of help you the best that we can. Yeah. Just again want to welcome the entire IIT Bombay alumni group, you and your friends and anyone in your network that you think would want to continue working in some capacity post retirement. We are here to help you out. I just want to quickly go over the exact process, like how would you get an opportunity with Wisdom Circle. It's a simple 3-step process. First step is to request access. And I think our colleagues are dropping the link in the chat as I'm speaking. So you just have to fill this form. And actually, I mean, if I had to make it very, very simple, it's just a 1-step process. You just have to fill this form and we'll take care of the rest. But what will actually happen in reality is that once you fill the form, you will get an invite email from Wisdom Circle. So step 2 is to open the email and click the link in the email. And step 3 is to come to the platform, create an account, and start exploring the opportunities that we have. Yeah, but the simplest thing is fill the form, request access, and post that. We'll take care of it. Whatever questions you have, we are here to help you. I'm going to pause now. I'll just see if Tanishta, you want to add anything here, or we can open the floor for Q&A.
No, that's it. Thank you, Niharika. The only thing I'd like to add is just an emphasis that our platform is specially designed to curate these opportunities, which are crafted with retired professionals in mind, and these opportunities exist. And like Niharika said, if this intrigues you, if you think this is useful for anyone you know, yourself, a friend, a family member, then please either fill up the request access form or share the request access form with them. that's about it. We can open up the floor for questions if anyone has. There were a few questions that have been asked in the chat. We can start with addressing those, or if anyone wants to unmute themselves and ask a question, go for it. We've been answering questions on chat via chat as well. So,
while people are gathering their thoughts and I guess preparing to ask questions, just would like to add that most of our opportunities are paid opportunities. And we have a combination of part-time, full-time, in-person, remote, hybrid, so on. But most, like I would say 90-95% of the opportunities that we have are paid opportunities. And at this point, there isn't a fee for WizGen to sort of request access and apply. There is no fee associated with that part of the process.
Yeah, so all those who have registered for this particular program and here, I mean, we will send you the link that has been said. We will share that.
Definitely. And I just want to add that this is just the start of our connection with IIT Bombay Alumni Association. This webinar is definitely not the last you will hear from us. We are going to follow up via an email, and also hopefully through other forums of IIT Bombay Alumni Association, you will know of the latest jobs that are available on our platform.
I think there's a question whether there is opportunity in other countries. So time to go global.
Interesting. No, that's Niharika, do you want to take that?
No, we get this question quite often, actually. Not at this point, but hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon, and we are exploring cross-border, right? So either the retiree or the organization, the WizGen or the organization hiring is not in India, right? So for example, we have an example of a particular opportunity on our platform that is looking for someone to be somewhere in Europe and help them with, Niharika can tell you more about it.
Yeah, I think this question was answered, but I'll just take this again. It asked, is there a fee for commission that Wisdom Circle charges? No, there are no charges.
To sign up, if you're a retired professional and you're signing up on our platform, there are no charges. Our business model, and we get asked this as well, how do we make money? Are we a non-profit? We are not a non-profit. We are a for-profit, very much a for-profit organization. We charge a service fee to the recruiting organization.
You can also possibly explore a model which the certain countries like the France and UK, they had a organization of retired professionals, and this organization sends out retired professionals to developing countries for helping people out.
Right.
Again, part of the expenses are borne by the sponsoring organization, and hospitality and living expenses by the requesting organization. I had been a representative of the British Executive Services overseas in the 90s for about 8-9 years. And in that capacity, I invited half a dozen professionals from Britain to help out Indian companies, Indian small scale, medium scale companies.
Yes, yes. MSMEs, in fact, are a focus area for us. We are looking to have many more opportunities in them. And thank you so much for that suggestion, Mr. Deepak. We will connect with you outside of this forum as well. You have promised me a tea session at Bombay Gymkhana. Take you up on that. And I'd love to discuss this at more length with you.
I mean, we are getting a lot of thank you messages, which is very, very hard thing to see. It's a great initiative taken. Thank you so much, Pranay. Vinod, I think.
Yes.
Okay, there are a lot of thank you coming in. So I'm hoping that thank you for being here and, making this meaningful. I think that's what makes all the difference. And Yeah, so everybody says this was useful. So thank you, Tanisha. Thank you, Niharika, for a lovely session. And I think this is one of the sessions where we have not had questions, which means you have said everything that they want to know. I think we'll take it, in that.
There don't seem to
we
be
hope to
too
see
many
this.
people on the close words of retirement.
No, interestingly, actually, we were getting some statistics around this, and Mr. Deepak maybe and Lata would know perhaps, right? That the more engaged alumni tend to be those in the target group that we are thinking of. I don't know, that's a hypothesis we have, that the 50 plus segment is more active in alumni associations.
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you so much. And yeah, it's wonderful having you all here today. And it's really, okay, what has been the success rate in terms of engaging with the enrolled folks?
So if you're asking about I'm assuming you're asking about the placement rate, like how many people are applying and getting into organizations.
That's right.
I think it would be around, I want to say 8 to 10%, right? So we have about an 8 to 10% rate of the number of people who apply and those who get into roles. So 1 in 10 people who apply for a particular role. Typically, we see that to fill a role, we need 10 people to apply to it. Roughly.
No, I think the question was, let's say that your platform has 100 people. So what is the percentage of people?
Percentage of people.
Yeah.
Oh, that way. Interesting. I think at the moment, that's a smaller percentage, but also keep in mind that Wisdom Circle only started in January and our platform went live in July. Let's give you numbers actually, right? So at the moment, we have around 1,000 people who have signed up to our platform. We have 250 plus roles on the platform and roughly the same number of applications that have come in on the platform, right? And we have around 20 people that we have placed in different organizations. So we are very much in the initial stages of our trajectory. Our goal is of course to make sure that we are meaningfully engaging with everyone on the platform, whether or not we are able to immediately, as soon as they sign up, have them find a role that's relevant to them, because every week there are newer opportunities that come onto the platform, right?
Exactly. And we're always in touch with the folks who are active on the platform to figure out what it is they would like to do if they're not seeing something.
Like as Prakash is saying, you need to bring down the average age to 45 because I think there is a whole trend of early retirement also happening. So maybe.
That's the reason.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the reason.
Yeah, early retirement is in vogue. And I think, as Bharat has been saying, right, the MSME should be a great focus, and I think a lot of people would be interested in kind of mentoring and working with the MSME.
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome. We are also at time, Lata. So I'm happy to take more questions or close the session. However, we always a joy to be engaging.
Yeah. So we will share all the details on an email to all those who have registered as to, we will send an email to all about all this is what is happening and the recording of this particular session. And I'm sure we will, this is just the beginning, and we hope to do a lot of a meaningful engagement with Wisdom Circle and with our alumni to bring a lot of a good impact on the community at large. Thank you everybody for joining us today. A very good evening, and thank you, and have a great weekend. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.